Hello and a very warm welcome to everybody in today's class. Isn't it weird that a sovereign independent country decides to hold a summit in its own sovereign territory and another country vehemently condemns it? It's not strange for Pakistan. India is holding the Tourism Working Group Summit under G20. India is the president for the current year, ending November 2023, and China has joined the chorus with Pakistan, calling Jammu and Kashmir a disputed territory. China never once thought of it being a disputed territory when it was developing China-Pakistan Economic Corridor under the Belt and Road Initiative. China also did not attend another summit in Arunachal Pradesh, which it calls as Southern Tibet. In today's episode, we are going to deal with many things. Specifically, the G20. How does the G20 work? India as the president. What are the objectives for India? What is Tourism Working Group and the TWC at Kashmir? The aim of conducting this summit in Kashmir. Pakistan's smear campaign, as always. A diplomatic setback for India because Turkey is not also coming to India, to Srinagar. Another one is that Saudi Arabia may or may not come. If it comes, then it will scale back representation. We'll talk about that as well. Is it a return to normalcy? And what lies ahead? We are going to talk all about this. China has opposed the G20 summit, the G20 Tourism Working Group Summit, in order to show its solidarity with its iron brother Pakistan. Of course, China also have its own purpose. Looking at the condition of Pakistan, China is just wanting to exploit Pakistan, not get something very, fruitful by this particular move. But of course, calling it a disputed territory is touching new lows for China, even China. Moving on, if we talk about the Tourism Working Group. So the third Tourism Working Group is being conducted at Srinagar, Jammu and Kashmir from 22nd to 24th of May 2023. The aim is to showcase the culture, hospitality and beauty of Kashmir and ensure that the youth of Kashmir who have traditionally been aloof from the economic integration, they get a chance in the economic integration of India as well. So what is the G20? The G20 was formed in 1999 after the Asian financial crisis in order to ensure that the finance ministers and the finance representatives of the different countries in Asia and the world are well and versed with each other in order to preserve global economy. And it is the premier forum for international economic cooperation after the another crisis of 2000, starting from 2008 onwards. So 2007 onwards, 2008 onwards and 2009 onwards. It was an outcome of different crises at that point of time, but it was elevated to premier forum for any sort of economic cooperation in the year 2008. Remember that. And the financial issues that started in 2007 made it so. The basic aim of the G20 is to shape and strengthen the global architecture and governance on all economic issues, but it can go beyond the economic issues as well. It represents around 85% of the global GDP and over 75% of the global trade. And if we talk about the number of countries by the name of G20, it is very eminent, it is very prominent that it is a group of 20 countries, 19 countries plus the European Union. All right. And we have to remember from a preliminary perspective that it does not have any permanent secretariat. If it is asked in your preliminary examination, please answer it correctly. Now, if we talk about the different topics that the G20 covers, it's trade, sustainable development, green tourism, health, agriculture, clean and green energy, environment, climate change, as well as anti-corruption. The different countries that are involved in this particular grouping are Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, as well as France, Mexico, Japan, Italy, Turkey or Turkey, United Kingdom, South Africa. Other than them, we have Germany, India, Republic of Korea, Russia as well, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, I've already told you, United States of America and the European Union. If we have to look at the map, then at the map also we can see this particular map which shows the entire structure of the G20 members grouping. If we talk about the current guest countries that India wants to host, it includes Bangladesh, Egypt, Mauritius, Netherlands, Nigeria, Oman, Singapore as well, Spain as well, and UAE as well. And we have to ensure that we know such things so that in the preliminary examination, if even they ask about the guest countries under India's presidency, we can answer them. The G20 presidency, or the president of the G20, that is India right now, what does it do? It steers the agenda of the G20, the group of 20, for one particular year and host the summit as well, like India is doing. The G20 actually works through two structures. Finance track is there and Sherpa track is there. It works in parallel nature. The finance track is actually under the finance minister and the governor of the central bank. In India, it is the RBI. The Sherpa track is basically under a person who is representing India, and that person, Sherpa, is actually a Nepalese word which is depicting a tourist guide in the Everest, for the Everest mountain. So Sherpa actually leads the entire agenda, as in whatever the leaders of the state are going to talk about is refined out by the Sherpa. So if you are asked about these kind of things in the preliminary examination, you can easily answer them. Now, if we talk about India is the president since 1st December 2022 to 30th November 2023. The basic function of the president is actually to bring together the G20 agenda in consultation with other members and also in response to the development in the global economy. So whatever development is there in the global economy, that could be also discussed here. The very important fact about G20 is that it has G20 Troika. Troika is like a group of 3 countries which consists of the president, current one, the previous president and the upcoming president. Why? In order to show that there is policy continuation. So whatever policies of the G20 were formulated under the presidency of Indonesia in 2022, that is passed on to India and thereafter it will be passed on to Brazil. So it's a troika. That is why we know it as a troika. Now for India, of course, India wants to ensure that it gets its rightful place in the world. It is already there, but that is, let's move forward. Samgach Dvam, move forward together. Samva Dvadam, that is, let's all interact together. And after that, we have everyone's mind should also be one. Then another point is that life. What is life? Life is actually the lifestyle for environment. Lifestyle for environment is what? That individual actions can grow into a bigger action. If we change our lifestyle, keeping environment in mind, keeping the environment in mind, the environment will possibly change for good. Then there are other engagement groups as well, such as civil societies, parliamentarians, think tanks, women, youth, labor, business and researchers of the G20 countries. Their summits also happen simultaneously. The tourism working group is actually a group in order to discuss tourism. This is the 3rd tourism working group summit, and it will consist of, for India, the tourism working group will consist of green tourism, digitization and skills, MSMEs, destinations as well. Green tourism, because of course we all have known about and heard about the hospitality of Kashmir, the culture of Kashmir, the beauty of Kashmir. There are many artisans and many small cottage industries which can thrive with the help of skills, digitization, and that is why it is also one of the part. Then there is destination as well. The aim is green tourism sector development as well as achieve the target for 2030 sustainable development goals. Now moving on, if we talk about the other important points, it is the Kashmir factor that we have to be very well aware of, because a preliminary question, many preliminary question could come from here. The big thing over here is the romanticization of Kashmir once again. The changing of the landscape of Kashmir in the minds of the people through movies and films. So there is a promoting incredible India through film tourism to be conducted as well. The Arts and Craft Bazaar, many delegates will go to the Arts and Crafts Bazaar. There they will be interacting with the local handicraft workers, work for artisans, signifying the importance of community participation, how the community is growing with the help of these particular skills. Other than that, the delegates will also have hands-on experience through do-it-yourself activities at the Crafts Bazaar. So it is a full-on cultural representation of Kashmir. So many artisans are also very hopeful. Then the other important part is to promote the local economy over there, the local products of Jammu and Kashmir through one district, one program initiative. Under this, delegates will be given souvenirs such as paper mache box that appears of Kashmiri mache paper products, including flowers, box patterns. There is saffron from Pampore, and that makes Srinagar the saffron capital of India. Then there is kahwa cups and brass spoon, Kashmiri's cuisine since ages. There are walnuts from Anantnag. So all these will be presented as souvenirs. Recently also, the agriculture products, spices and other commodities were exported to UAE from Kashmir. So these are the certain points that you can write in your answer paper as well. Now, if we talk about the current situation, what arrangements have been made because of the Poonch attack recently, which of course was a very orchestrated attack, in order to show that India and specifically Jammu and Kashmir is still not a safe place to go. So it was kind of a deterrent to the delegates to not to attend the G20 summit. So there is right now no restrictions anywhere, like markets are open, schools and colleges are open, so that normalcy can be there. Traffic will generally flow freely. Only when the delegates are there, there might be some sort of provisions or things that one might follow there. And there is a multi-tier security of army, BSF, police, CRPF. There is also the village defense committee, which is very active along the international border as well as the line of control. Pakistan, of course, has criticized this move and said that India is actually having a self-serving process under the garb of G20 summit. So what has Pakistan said? Pakistan has called India irresponsible. It has called that India is serving itself under the G20 garb, and what is happening is India is not abiding by the UN Charter, United Nations resolution, which the country itself doesn't recognize, and that is the problem. And saying that what we are conducting at G20, a self-serving purpose, is something that is not at all making sense. India, Jammu and Kashmir is a part of India. And how can you say that it is a disputed territory? Because India came into an agreement under the instrument of accession with Maharaja Hari Singh. So when two parties are into an agreement, how can it be a disputed territory? This is sometimes also called a blunder of Nehruji. It might be for political purposes, but many historians have said that even Nehruji, after a certain period of time, started regretting making this issue or taking this issue to the UNSC. Now, moving ahead, if we talk about the other important points, is that Pakistan is running a campaign for smearing India's image. How? It is profiling certain anti-India for mobile numbers. Those people who are anti-India, their mobile numbers are profiled, and then they are spreading propaganda with the help of hashtags such as Bharat Jammu Kashmir Chhod Do, boycott G20, stop G20 in Kashmir. So these all are a hashtag that is being used as a propaganda, as a smear campaign of Pakistan, so that the delegates can know what is actually, what is happening in Jammu and Kashmir. We will not go there. Then we have protesters. They have also appeared in Srinagar to deter the delegates and protest in front of the delegates to not, attend the G20 Tourism Working Group Summit. The pro-freedom organizations such as Variseen-e-Shuda is also one of them. Then there is a group of people who, through certain organizations such as the Kashmir Institute of International Relations, they have written to the Japanese Prime Minister not to attend the G20 summit. There is also the Kashmir Diaspora Coalition. It's writing to the heads of all the states of G20. Even when Pakistan is not a part of the G20, they are doing it so that there can be no one to attend the G20 summit, TWG summit in Srinagar, and show them that it's not actually a part of India. Now, if we talk about the countries of G20 countries, they also have Muslim population like India has, but many of them are attending it, such as Argentina. Here, for around 4 lakh people are Muslims. Australia, around 8 lakh people are Muslims over here. Brazil, over 2 lakh people are Muslims, and it is largest in Latin America. Canada, 1.8 million, second largest. China, 28 million are Muslims. See, the point here, why am I showing you this, is that India by Pakistan is being presented as somebody who is targeting the Muslims of Kashmir just because it's a Muslim territory. But it is not so. If it would have been so, majority of the countries wouldn't have shown here. And they of course know that Jammu and Kashmir is a part of India. India is an integral country to their own interests as well, and that is why they are here. Another important point is that France, Germany, Indonesia, Italy, Japan, Mexico, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, South Africa, Turkey, UK as well as US, most of them are coming. Who are not coming, we are going to talk about them as well. So you see that there is a huge Muslim population in almost all the countries who belong to G20 and who are attending this summit. Now, if we talk about another important point over here, is that it is being called a diplomatic setback for India when majority of the Muslim majority countries are not coming, such as Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Indonesia. We are not very sure of Indonesia as well. So a total of 60 international delegates have registered so far, and a total of 17 G20 countries have already confirmed their participation. This is the most fresh news. Not registered as of yet is Saudi Arabia, China and Turkey. Earlier it was being said that Saudi Arabia is going to attend, but it is going to scale back the representation. The number of invited countries is 9, out of which only Egypt has not registered. Other than Egypt, all the other countries as guest countries, they are coming. Now, Varanus is a Canadian professor who is a UN rapporteur. He has called out India, saying that G20 summit is trying to show, it's a facade, that everything is normal in Kashmir. He has said that since the abrogation of Article 370, human rights violation have increased, and India condemned this statement. Alright, so if it is ever asked in your mains examination to draw a picture, as in to describe how TWG actually worked in Srinagar, you can point out these things as well. That is why I am telling you. Now, normalcy has returned or not? Let's talk about that. The critics are saying that because of the high security at the international border, at LOC, the presence of CRPF, BSF, police, even Marine Corps are present at the Dal Lake. The delegates would have gone to the Dal Lake for tourism purposes, but it has already been cancelled because there is an imminent threat according to some experts. So it doesn't mean that everything is normal. It is just a show that everything has become normal. There is also a lack of elected representative because of it being under states representative. It is being said normalcy is still not there. Then there is a problem of statehood. Jammu Kashmir is still a union territory since 2019. Until and unless statehood has been restored to this particular union territory, critics will never call it normal. Now, if we talk about an alternative strategy, the way ahead is that since the beginning of abrogation of Article 370, many critics have said that terrorism, infiltration, militancy is actually what presents Jammu and Kashmir in front of the world. We need an alternative approach. We need to show Jammu and Kashmir as a place which is full of hospitality, full of culture and diversity. It's an exemplar image of India's diversity. Jammu and Kashmir is so close and loved by India. Of course, it is our part. That is why we love it. And it is a step in the right direction, holding summits, because it is one of the biggest summit to be conducted since the abrogation of Article 370. So uncovering solutions is also there for broader problems. The broader problem over there is lack of economic integration. When there is an economic vacuum, it becomes really easy to radicalize a person, and that is what is happening there. Why do so many terrorist groups are not in favor of developing Kashmir? Because they won't be able to radicalize it further. They won't be able to get militants from there. And then there is the engagement of youth who have traditionally stayed aloof from the economic integration with the country. Okay, so if it is asked in your preliminary examination, which is the national highway that connects Jammu and Kashmir from the rest of India, it is National Highway 44. I hope you understood this topic well. That's it. And I will come up again with another interesting and important topic. Thank you.